Let it begin!
Jerks! Shame! Jerks!
The jerk list.
I see all of them.
There's too many jerks.
That's what I love about
Jerk!
the jerk list.
A severe penalty for being a jerk.
You're a jerk!
The jerk list.
Jerks! Jerks! What an outrage. Shame! You're a jerk! Jerk!
The jerk
There's
list.
too many jerks.
The jerk list.
Judge rules. Jerk!
All right, listen, I'm not going to belabor it. The first person on the list this week is Jerry Falwell. All right, listen, he died today. I know some people would say, too soon. Oh, you can't spit on somebody's grave. Guess what? Here's a mistake that the world makes. Everybody who dies shouldn't be memorialized and glorified as a great human being just because they kicked it. He was a bad guy. He said back after 9/11 that this was a sign that the gays and feminists and people like this were to blame for this. This guy has warped the minds of millions. He's responsible for televangelism, which has robbed countless billions of dollars from dopes, from old people. He robs them. It's shameful and ironic that these people who use the name of God and so on and so forth are some of the most soulless human beings to ever walk the face of the earth. And Jerry Falwell was the pioneer of them all. And guess what? You may be dead. You may be answering to the Almighty either upstairs or maybe downstairs. But guess what? I don't know what you're doing in the afterlife. But one thing's for sure: you're a jerk. Take that, Falwell. You think is that too much, Popeye the producer, to take him down on the day he died?
We might be close to the line. We might be pretty close.
Says who? You? I'm not here to be judged by you. I asked you just as a test. It was a test, Popeye, and you failed it, sir, and that's why you're next on the list. Now, you know what? That's not why you're next on the list. I'm going to add this to your list of violations this week. This one now, for saying we're close to the line. One, I don't like that. And two, I don't know if you caught the show last night. I have been going on and on since before this show started over the telephone to Popeye the producer. I have said this to him. Listen, this show, what we need here is, for your sake, Popeye, for my sake, for the show's sake, for the morale, we need interns. You know, you hire college kids to be interns, and they do your bidding, and, you know, they learn about radio, presumably. I said, you know, here's what we need. Foxes. We need to get some foxes in there. Some co-eds who look good, maybe a blonde, maybe a brunette, maybe a redhead mixed in there. I don't know what. Beggars can't be choosers. So anyway, so Popeye tells me, guess what? We got our first intern locked up. Well, not locked up. I mean, that sounds wrong. But anyway, in the fold, as it were. So I was exhilarated. I couldn't wait to meet her. Couldn't wait to hear what she was all about, what she looks like, see pictures of her. So finally, put her on the phone last night, and here's how that went. Listen, I have no beef with this, Elliot. My beef is with you. I told you I don't want him to hear me talking right now, so I'm going to whisper. I told you I wanted hot women.
Yes, you're on the radio.
I wanted hot interns. I don't want this Elliot.
Oh, that's not fair. Let's give him a shot, you know?
Listen, Elliot stays. What's done is done. The blood is on your hands. But now, Popeye, more than ever, you must double and triple your efforts. We need a hot intern. A good show, though. The jerk list. I think somebody just made that garbage off. I have no remorse about putting. I don't even want to look back at that. Do you see what he did to me? What I was looking for was a nice girl, and he gets me somebody named Elliot. And if you had heard this guy's voice, it was even worse. There was no mistaking with it. Popeye had made a horrible, horrible mistake. And with that said, that is why, Popeye, I'm sorry to have you do it to yourself, but guess what? It's a self-inflicted wound. Popeye is a jerk!
Dave...
Popeye, listen, we got a lot to get through here.
I know, but I shot myself in the foot last week. Does it have to be the same foot, or can I shoot myself in the other one?
Oh, no. Please, no, I'm not a mean guy. I don't want you to shoot yourself in the foot. Move about 3 feet up and aim it at the backside. How about take out the right cheek there? Popeye is a jerk! Good luck sitting down the rest of the show, you creep. All right, as you can hear, the listener, Popeye doesn't carry out my bidding. That's why I need you, the listener, to serve as my Urukai and hunt down all the jerks and creeps. Help me hunt down the jerks and creeps of the world. That's why we have the Jerk Hotline. I encourage you to call in and let me know who you have. We got a couple of decent suggestions here. Let's take a listen to one of the calls.
Yeah, Dave. I got a question for you. When are you going to arrive to Pittsburgh? Or let me ask this. Are you already in Pittsburgh? It's actually, you don't exist, but it's actually Scott Paulson calling up from a studio, phoning in the show. Jerk.
Wow. Now I see how it feels. The blaster turned on me. Go ahead. You have to give it to him. If he wants to call me a jerk, so be it. All right, no. I am, in fact, in L.A., but the good news is I'm more or less booked to fly out there with the wife and little baby girl, baby Lemieux Crosby, just 2 weeks old, now 15 days old. We're set to fly out there and be out there the second week of June to begin my reign. The sports contraption will fully reign and take over Pittsburgh, PA in June. Now, the next call to the Jerk Hotline. Let's take a listen.
Whoever the jerk is that handed out the number 55 jersey to LaMarr Woodley this year has got to be the same jerk that handed out the 10 jersey to Santonio last year. Why do we put these guys a few steps behind before they even hit the field?
Interesting idea. Yes, please. If you're going to call the Jerk Hotline, follow proper protocol. Finish it by giving him the jerk call. How's Popeye to know? He's just a trigger man. Now, to the larger point, yeah, that is a lot of pressure for LaMarr Woodley wearing Joe Porter's number there, 55. Santonio Holmes, conversely, with the number 10 there, a different kind of pressure levied on his shoulders. A lot of questions about his sexual preference, I imagine, putting on the number 10 in the black and gold there. But, yes, I understand. And beyond that, I also suggested to Daniel Sepulveda, the new punter, go with the double zeros. Go with the big zero because he's a big dude punting the ball. Somehow it seems more imposing. He didn't do that. I think he went with either went with 9 or 14. I forget which. But yes, let's get those numbers. Let's be clever with handing out those numbers there. All right, now, with all the tartness of the jerks in the world, I like to sprinkle in a little bit of sugar. It's time for the Get Out of Jerk free card. Now, the Get Out of Jerk free card, of course, I give out each week. It's a way to, it's like the in Monopoly, the Get Out of Jail free card. You know, you're all human beings. If you commit a violation that makes you a jerk or a creep, so be it. You get this card. Now you're back to even Steven. You play this card for any future jerky behavior. You're square in my book. All right, this week, it's interesting because we've been having the movie villain tournament. You know, we've been playing it out the last couple of weeks here. We're still in the first round right now. Tonight, on the docket for the movie villain tournament, you know, we've had a lot of exciting matchups. Of course, last Friday, probably the most exciting matchup to date in the tournament. Clubber Lang, a 12 seed from Rocky III. He pulled the upset on Darth Maul from Episode 1 of the Star Wars movies. It was very exciting. Darth Maul turned his back. He was preening. He was showboating for the crowd, sort of like a WWE guy. He never saw Clubber Lang get up behind him and knock him out and then pick up the lightsaber out of Darth Maul's hands and cut him in half. Anyway, tonight on the docket, it's going to be a good one. Stan Gable from Revenge of the Nerds, the lead Alpha Beta, the guy who torments the nerds, the Tri-Lambs, if you remember that. He's the quarterback of the team. He's got a tough one. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull it out. He's going up against Sandman, the third seeded Sandman from the Spider-Man movies. But Stan Gable, here's why he gets to Get Out of Jerk free card. Because let's remember, in the Revenge of the Nerds movie, think back to the late 80s when that movie came out. I always have admired him. First, he's an All-American QB on a ranked football team. He gets any woman on the campus he wants. He's got, he's the coolest guy on campus, but that's not enough for him. He's got to devote his life to torturing nerds. And think about what he does, the extent he goes to torture those nerds. If you remember that movie, the one scene, they send a bunch of hogs into the nerds' frat house, and they ransack the house with all these gigantic hogs and stuff. Think how much time and effort that would take. You really have to be committed to your craft, to tormenting nerds, to be able to go out and find like 12, 15 huge, full-size hogs? That would take time and money and ingenuity. Good for you, Stan Gable, quarterback. And what's more, you also remember the big scene when they're practicing and they get the Ben Gay and their jock straps and everything. That's another thing. They put that on. There are only 12 guys on the whole team, and they're ranked in the top 10 in the country. That's pretty tough to do. Most college football teams have like 80 or 100 guys. They're doing it with a dozen fellas. Good for you. That's why you, Stan Gable, king of the Alpha Betas in the Interfraternity Council and better of whatever beautiful women on campus you want. That's why you get the get out of jerk free card, sir. Congratulations to you. All right, let's move back to the ugliness, though. Here we go. This is another one that hits close to home for me. It's Josh from Butler. He's a regular caller. Now, my sister, Debbie, comes on the show. She's a single woman. She comes on. She gives out dating advice. You know, she'll tell you the do's and don'ts. It's very helpful for you single guys. Hey, listen, if you're on a date, if you behave like this, the ladies will be repelled by it. I think it's helpful stuff. But Josh from Butler called in, and this is what he said about my sister.
No one wants to hear anything whiny about why some lady can't get a date. I'm sorry. Apparently the guy had to drink, several martinis. I think instead of Debbie being the date expert, she should, teach guys how to tie a noose or something like that.
Why is that, though? I mean, there's something inherently that annoys you or something?
Because of the yap. Guys, you shouldn't do this on a date. Guys, you shouldn't do that on a date. And then when you watch all the cheesy movies that Hollywood makes, when these guys bring flowers, when they do all the crazy stuff, in a movie, that's lovely, but in the real life, it's psychopathic. If any of the guys call up and say, hey, sports contraption, Debbie's advice really helped me land a great date. Thanks, guys. I'll never say anything again. It's the man station.
Well, I'll tell you what. Josh from Butler amuses me to no end. And the good news is Josh from Butler and I are going to be chaperoning an on-air date for Debbie and Josh from Butler's boss, Brian. I think it's going to be this Thursday night, so you'll want to tune in for that. Should be very exciting stuff. Perhaps a love connection will play out before your very ears. All right, that said, in the meantime, you don't come on this radio show and disparage my family, my sister, Josh from Butler. You're a jerk! All right, we got, you know what? Let's take a break now. We got to come back, and then we'll get to the creep of the week. But in the meantime, I think that's best to do that right now, Popeye. I hope your right buttocks is healing up and you're doing nice work with the Han Solo Edition blaster. I appreciate you sticking with it here. Anyway, but right now, let's take a break. By the way, your Buccos are still tied at zeros against the Florida Fish, although Jose Castillo did just bang out a hit. Good sports night, by the way. You got a couple NBA playoff games, plus later on tonight you got the Detroit Wings playing in Anaheim in Orange County against them Ducks. So a good sports night. Stick around, and like I say, when we get back, the creep of the week. And I'm sorry, Alan Faneca fans. I have a bad feeling about this one. Anyway, 412-333-9370. Dave Dameshek, Sports Contraption, a 93.7, The Zones.
This is Marv Albert from downtown or Green Tree. You're listening to Dave Dameshek, Sports Contraption on 93.7 The Zone. Yes!
That's how it starts.
Thank you, Marv. Time to return to the jerk list. All right, on Dave Dameshek, Sports Contraption, every Tuesday as we do. Let's continue. I think we just left off with, we've got a couple more, and then it's time for the creep of the week. All right, Roger Clemens was on SportsCenter the other night, talking about, he's been getting a lot of heat for being soulless and going to the Yankees, a.k.a. the top bidder, leaving his home of Texas, which he swore, that's why he had to go back there, was because he had to be near his wife and kids and be able to hang out with them regularly. And then all of a sudden, the Yankees offer him $28 million, and then it wasn't so important that he be there every day of the week anymore. Anyway, he's talking about the slings and arrows he's been taking from the media. Take a listen.
They've been real dangerous in how they're reporting things. And, I understand it, too, because they're making a lot of money off of it. Talk shows, you got one guy on one side of it, another guy on the other side of it, and that's what generates talk shows and people to call in and get fired up about it.
Wait a second. This came up yesterday. Who are these people doing talk shows that are making a lot of money? Who's making millions of dollars off of doing talk shows? Not me. You mean to tell me I should be getting rich doing this? Because I certainly am not getting rich. Thank you for pointing this out. I think you're a terrible guy, Roger Clemens, but you brought something to light here. Hey, the zone management, you're a jerk! All right, don't take that too seriously. It's just for fun. Anyway, no, but Clemens is right. But seriously, if you want to talk off air, I mean, I'll tell you I'm just kidding around. But I mean it. Anyway, all right, let's move on. One more, and then it's time for the creep of the week. Now, this guy's been driving me crazy all season long. Every Monday night, my wife makes me watch this show. It's the one show that she likes to watch that I sort of will sit there and watch with her. It's The Bachelor. Now, you would think this would be a recipe for great stuff for a fella because it's one guy and 25 supposed foxes. You know, you'd think it would just be one after the other, these women. And it's great to think about, like, oh, this guy should be laying down with every last one of them. He should bed them all. And every week he should keep the beauties. Whoever the hottest one is the ones he should be keeping around, but not this one. It's called An Officer and a Gentleman this year because he's in the Navy. And this guy's sweet as the day is long. He's a fancy man, if you know what I mean. And he keeps eliminating all the good-looking ones, all the ones that are trampy, all the ones that he can have his way with. As far as I can tell, he hasn't had his way with a single one of them. He hasn't laid on top of any of them yet. And not only that, he's ridiculous. He's an embarrassment to our military. He's in the Navy, as I say. He's an embarrassment in that regard. And also, he's a doctor. And he likes to brag about that, but his medical studies got in the way of him learning any sort of words. He doesn't know any adjectives. He only has one word, one adjective he uses over and over again to describe every one of these women, and it's not hot. Take a listen to this. This is from 5 minutes last night of the show. The last 5 minutes of the show, I counted him using one word, amazing, over and over again. Take a listen.
I've had such an amazing past few days with all of you. Spent some incredible time doing some amazing things, and any man would be thrilled to have a woman like any of you by their side. And Danielle, she's such an amazing, strong, genuine person. I think you're amazing, okay? I'm trying to focus on the positive, that in the end I'm going to have the most amazing woman of them all.
And then he cried. Again! This is the second time by my count that he's cried on this show. Stop embarrassing our country! Officer and a Gentleman. How about this? Jerk! Crying about women that he barely even knows. I had a real connection with her. It was so hard to not give her a rose. You're in our military. Benny Laden is watching this with the terrible towels in a cave in Afghanistan somewhere, laughing not just at you, but our entire nation. One more, and you're going into the Jerk Hall of Shame. Bachelor, Officer, and a Gentleman. All right, you know what? I'm going to let it go this time. You could have very easily wound up as the Creep of the Week, but no, someone trumped you on this. Let's get to the Creep of the Week.
Creep, creep, creep of the week, of the week. He or she is the creep of the week.
All right, I've been railing against him since late last week when he decided to announce, this is my last season as a Steeler. I'm not playing for the Steelers after 2007. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Alan Faneca, and all the crying. And then, of course, well, it's not going to get in the way of me practicing with the team. I'm going to be a good soldier and everything. Then, sure enough, less than a day later, he decides to skip practice. Here's why.
Just some things were said, and I just had to cool off, a little cool off time.
You said yesterday, you didn't think it was going to be that much of a distraction, but has it become a distraction with you leaving and then coming back?
Or? I don't think I said that. Did I say it was not going to be a distraction? Like I said yesterday, it's something I personally got to learn to deal with, and I'll figure that out.
What, did old man Dan Rooney say something that you had to cool off about? What's wrong with you, you prima donna? And by the way, talk about a diva. What, did I say it wasn't going to be disruptive? Yeah, that's exactly. He just basically conceded by saying, yeah, I didn't think it was going to be. I never said it wasn't going to be a distraction. He knows what he's doing. He's intentionally being a distraction to Coach Tomlin at the dawn of the new era for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I thought he was a good soldier. Oh, I gave 9 years to the organization and everything else. Yeah, well, you're betraying all of it, and you're making all of Pittsburgh turn against you, number 66. Hey, how about this? See if you can block this. You're the creep of the week.
The Jerk List with Dave Dameshek. Until next time, don't be a jerk.